Hey, how's it going, everybody? Timothy here with Mana Rocks. We're going to go ahead and continue playing with the companions from Ikoria. We've played with 3 decks so far. I believe that was Garuda, Karuga, and Lutri, the Elemental Otter. And we're going to go and spin our wheel here in a second and see what we're going to play with today. Again, this has kind of just been a fun exercise in seeing whether the companions are truly busted or not. And my take on it is that they're fine in Standard. They actually lead to some pretty fun games in Standard, even though I think they're going to wear their welcome very quickly. You can only play against Lurrus and Yorion so many times before you just like roll your eyes. As soon as you start the match and you see your opponent's playing Yorion or something, you kind of know how the game's going to go. But there's enough variation in the companions and what people are playing that I think it's kind of fun. Can't speak towards older formats. So before we spin our wheel, make sure you subscribe below if you want to see more content like this. Find us on Twitter at MTG_ManaRocks, and let's see which companion we're going to play today with our high-tech, super-duper thought-out wheel here. Down to 7. Ooh, Amori or Zirda? Zirda it is. Okay, so Zirda is the red-white one. Perhaps one of the most combo-centric ones when it comes to older formats, just because it is basically a training grounds stapled to a creature, right? And when you can have it as a companion, if you build around it, then you can always have access to one of your combo pieces, right? In Standard, it's still kind of a combo piece. It's one of the least played companions, and I thought it would be interesting to go for a fun sort of unique deck here. So I'm going to give MTGGoldfish credit for this. I saw this deck through, I think, what do they call it? Saffron Olive's like quick deck text, whatever they're called. He's got a name for it, but I can't think of what it is. At any rate, what this deck is trying to do is, first off, have a bunch of mana dorks. Ideally, anything that taps for a large amount of mana, right? Anything that taps for about 3 mana. So you're looking at Incubation Druid, Fey Burrow Elder as kind of the main ways to tap and produce a bunch of mana. And then you're looking for ways to untap those creatures, namely High Alert is your big one, where you pay 2 white, blue to untap a creature. We don't care about the rest of the text on this card. And if you have Zirda out, what that does is reduces the activated abilities, all of your activated abilities, by 2 mana. So High Alert will cost white-blue instead of 2 white-blue. And you can kind of see where that goes, right? Tap something like Fey Burrow Elder for 3 mana, pay 2 mana to untap it, tap for 3, 2 mana to untap it. You generate infinite mana that way. And I've played this deck a couple times. It's not very good. I'm going to be completely honest. It doesn't stand up well. You basically need mana dorks early on. You need so many pieces, right? You need like a High Alert. You need mana dorks. You need to get them to the point where they're tapping for 3 or more mana. And you also need to get to a safe place where you can cast Zirda. After that, you can go off. But even then, you need another piece that can use that infinite mana, right? So if you have like Fey Burrow Elder tapping for 3, Zirda on board, High Alert, yeah, you can make infinite mana, but you still need another card that can let you use infinite mana, and that's where some of the other cards in this deck come into play. Nylea with infinite mana can draw your entire library, or at least draw all the creatures in your library, which is good enough to get there. With a card like Kenrith, which can, win in 1,000 different ways. It can make an infinite power creature. It can give everything haste that turn. It can draw your library, reanimate all your creatures, and if somehow none of that works, your opponent fogs you, you can always just target your opponent 1,000,000 times with the draw a card ability and just deck them out. You can also use Finale of Devastation to just win on the spot. You can use Keenan's activated abilities, and Keenan's actually pretty cool in this deck because it lets all of your mana dorks tap for an additional mana. Fey of Wishes has some neat stuff going on in the sideboard, and yes, we're going to be playing best of 1, but as we saw with the Lutri video, it's important to actually have relevant cards in your sideboard because you're playing Fey of Wishes. I'm not sure that's necessary for the deck, but I assume one of the important cards here is Gauntlets of Light, which is another kind of aura type ability that has an activated ability that can untap creatures. My sneaking suspicion is that this is just actually better to have in the main board than High Alert, but I'm going to play the deck as it was presented. You can also find like Tameo, Finale of Devastation, and then most of the other cards here are cards that you would actually be sideboarding in a best of 3, not really cards that you're looking for with Granted here. And then there's just a bunch of cards in the deck that happen to be quote-unquote good cards that don't really necessarily blend with the strategy, right? There's Teferi, Nissa, Dream Troll, or Kogla. These are all just good Bant cards that you can play that kind of play more of a control or aggressive strategy, ramp strategy, whatever you need to. by just having good cards in your deck on top of the rest of it. I don't know how this deck's going to play out, over the course of 4 or 5 matches, but I've noticed when it does the thing, it's basically because your opponent stumbled or didn't interact with you, and when it doesn't do the thing, you're just playing a collection of weird cards, right? So we'll see if we can combo off, excuse me, at least once or twice here, and hopefully we have a little bit of fun. Sorry, my voice just decided to go out for no reason, but that's going to be the name of the game today, Zirda combo with Zirda as our companion. I hope you enjoy the matches. Remember, subscribe below for more content like this. Find us on Twitter at MTG_ManaRocks, and I will fix my voice before match number 1. See you all there. Alright, welcome everybody. We are here for match number 1. We're playing against Garuda, so that basically means we need to enable some sort of game plan before turn 5. Our opponent's probably going to go off on turn 4. We are in the play. We can go Fabro Elder into High Alert, and that produces 3 mana. This plus Zirda on turn 4 makes infinite mana. We just have to find a way to make it, and the Garuda deck is not going to interact with us, so I think I'm going to keep, even though this is a turn 3 into turn 4. Our opponent's going to go off on turn 4, and then on turn 5 we need to make something happen. So we shall see what comes up. This deck is also, there's a lot of options, a lot of back and forth stuff, so forgive me if I mess something up, because it is kind of hard to play this deck from what I've noticed. Incubation Druid, pretty good draw there. Incubation Druid was actually great. I'm still going to go, I think, Fabro Elder on 3. Alright, see the 2 mana accelerant here. Another Incubation Druid. Alright, let's go ahead and get Fabro Elder down. Might actually be able to play Nissa next turn and make more mana, right? If I go... This is 2 mana. 2, 3, 4... Let's go 2, 3, 4, 5. Nah. Shift in Ceratops. Didn't see that coming. Alright, there's Kenrith. So that's a way to use infinite mana, right? So now if I go High Alert, I don't have a land. If I go High Alert, tap this for white, cast Zirda for white, green, I can't quite activate this, so I don't want to expose the Zirda yet. 3, 4, so what I'm going to do is just cast another Incubation Druid here. Maybe I should have gone for Nissa here. Yes, let's cast an Incubation Druid and pass the turn, and then next turn I believe we can go off. This can add 3 of any color. Yeah, so if I just straight up cast Zirda with this mana, then I can make infinite mana here. I should be able to just go off here. Opponent does not have the turn 4 Garuda. They might be playing a different variant. The Garuda decks I've seen don't typically play Shift in Ceratops. So we'll see. Thassa's fine. Ironically, Thassa can't blink Shift in Ceratops. Not that that really matters. Opponent decides not to attack. Alright. So let's try this out. This is going to take me a second here, so bear with me. Let's go ahead and cast Zirda. And activate... untap. So I generate red-green every time I do this. Oh yeah, we've got it here. So now I activate one of these, right? Let's just do it a couple more times, because I have to use the blue-white every time I do this, so I'm only generating infinite red and green. Alright, now we will activate one of these. Okay, now this can tap for blue. And this has to tap for white. Oh no, we don't have to do that. So activate. I don't need to be on full control here. And hopefully my opponent just concedes when I show him a win con. Alright, that's enough mana to go ahead and adapt this one. And this one can generate infinite white mana for us. So at any point, I can go ahead and untap the incubation druids here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and show my opponent the win con here and see if they want to scoop to Kenrith or want me to play it out. Oop. Alright, opponent scooped. Thanks for not making me play it out. Basically, we have to go through that iteration a bunch and activate Kenrith to start giving our creatures +1/+1 counters. And then we can use a red mana to give them all haste and just jam. In paper, that's a lot easier, right? Because you can just say, hey, I have infinite mana. Some people make you play it out, but it's not really worth your time. All right, I mean, we did the thing in match number 1, so that's pretty nice. We were playing against a Garuda deck, which I think if we have all our pieces, like if we find the pieces, you know, an untapper, a tap, a mana dork, we always have Zirda, so that's nice, and a way to use the mana. I think we can beat the Garuda deck because they usually can't win before turn 5, 6-ish, right? 4 is when they usually cast Garuda and go off, but even then they don't really interact with us that much, so we have time to set up and not be like interrupted. So again, I don't know if it was better to play Nissa there or not. You can kind of let me know if you saw a better line, but there's so many different things tapping for so much mana that it's kind of hard to keep track of. But we got to win match number 1, so at the very least we get to showcase that the deck can work, which is nice. And we'll go ahead and run it back for a couple more matches. This will be match 2 coming up. See you there. Alright, welcome back, ladies and gents. We are here for match number 2 against another Garuda deck. We're against Mao, or Mayo maybe. We have a 2-lander with a turn 2 Incubation Druid, turn 3 Feyburrow Elder. No way to untap the creatures, but this is the same kind of deal, right? If we find a way to untap, if we find High Alert, we've got the win again, right? So I'm going to keep this and go get a forest with this Fabled Passage. Being on the play here is kind of big against these Garuda decks. Pretty sure this is not the same player, so we'll see if there's a shift in Ceratops on turn 4 or not. Oh, that is red mana. That is red mana. So our opponent might be playing something a little bit different here. Remember, they still have to have all evens. So they can have a 2-drop here. I wonder if they're playing some Gruul aggro deck. They're just going to kill Incubation Druid or something. No, this looks about the same, just probably playing a different suite of creatures. Let's go ahead and play the Feyburrow Elder. 1, 2, 3, 4. Might play Nissa next turn. And pass. Probably better to get the Temple Garden down there. So if we draw High Alert, do we win? 3 mana for High Alert. This starts tapping for 4. No High Alert. So I can shock. They had a shock land. This is a Teamer Garuda deck. They still have 3 mana up, so they could interact here, right? Granted, it would have to be a 2 mana spell. Do I attack with Feyburrow Elder here first? What if I go Nissa? Nissa, untap, play this, and then play Teferi second main, looking for basically anything. This seems decent. Are they going to have a sweeper or anything? Alright. We will play Nissa. And we will untap I guess just a forest, right? No, I need a breeding pool. I don't need either or. I'm going to have to shock regardless. So I'll just untap regular forest here. Attack for 3. And then I can either shock and adapt this, or I can play Teferi and just fish for a card. Actually, I can play Teferi and bounce Wolfwillhaven. That's not that bad. So I need white mana, which I have with Incubation Druid, right? Yeah, I messed up. I should have untapped Breeding Pool. Oh well. We will pay 2 life, play Teferi, bounce Wolfwillhaven, and just set our opponent back a card here. Doesn't feel like they have interaction, but now Can't cast a 5-drop. Oh, there's High Alert. We have the pieces. I mean, I guess this might have been enough. We have the pieces. We don't have the way to sink the mana into something, though. I mean, we can adapt over and over again, but you only get counters the first time. So we were 1 mana sink away from winning that game. All right, sweet. I mean, we just played green-white stuff, and our opponent... These Garuda decks, man, they're not Garudaing us. I guess we've been on the play both times, and we've been fairly lucky to get our pieces, but I'll take my first 2 wins here, and we'll run it back for match number 3. See you there. All right, welcome back, ladies and gents. We're here against Mad Drummer of East, or Mad Drummer O Feast. We're on the play with not too much going on, but I think the double Teferi is probably enough to interact. We're not playing against a companion, which is interesting. These days in Standard, like, you kind of know the matchup as soon as things start. Incubation Druid being probably my best draw here. Red. Just mountain. Just mountain go. I feel like this deck probably should mulligan into a 2-drop. You want Keenan, Incubation Druid, Paradise. I guess there's only 1 Paradise Druid. All right, we got a turn 2 Scorch Spitter. That had to have been their draw. We're against mono red. So this is probably not a great matchup, but it's probably fine because we're looking to basically ignore our opponent. Do I want to expose Fabro Elder to, like, a Bone Crusher? No, I'm just going to play Teferi and bounce Scorch Spitter here. This could be a Cavalcade deck. We don't know that it's, like, full-on mono-red stompy, but people still play Cavalcade. Alright, can't turn 4 Nissa. I could have turned 4 Nissa if I played Fabro Elder, but then I'd be exposing this Fabro Elder to just a burn spell. Look at that. Might just go Teferi again. There's Kenrith, so we just need, like, the High Alert here. I think I'm supposed to just go Teferi bounce again. Next turn we can always just play Kenrith, and Kenrith's pretty good at stalling a board against mono red because of the white ability. Oh, Keenan. Alright. Here comes Spitter. We got Mountain Bone Crusher. Annex. Okay, so this is just red Ember Cleave type stuff. Infinite Teferis. I kind of like going Nissa plus Keenan. They have to attack Nissa, right? And I don't care if Nissa dies. Untap Breeding Pool. Cast Keenan. I mean, I kind of care if Nissa dies, because with Keenan on board, this taps for 3, right? Or is it non-land? No. Okay. Keenan doesn't stack with the extra mana from Nissa, because this only adds mana of a non-land permanent. What made? They could Ember Cleave us here. They could Ember Cleave us. Fervent Champion could still Ember Cleave us. See if they ignore Nissa or not. I kind of want them just jam on Nissa. Rimrock Knight on Scorch Spitter? Okay. Is that to disincentivize me from attacking? Or blocking at all? Okay, so I could chump here. I could also just trade with Scorch Spitter. But this seems good. Alright. Oh, I didn't even realize they were attacking Teferi at all. Nissa down, Teferi still on board. Here comes Rimrock Knight. Go ahead and plus this Teferi. We have 5 mana available to us, unfortunately. Could go Nissa. I think I need to get my pieces online. The thing is, I don't have... Yeah, I don't have everything I need here. Incubation Druid. We're just looking for High Alert at this point, I think. So, I could play Kenrith, which is a good just brick wall card, or I could get this Fabro Elder down. Not entirely sure. Playing Zirda seems not good. Kind of want to go Teferi bounce. And just make them deal with this Teferi again. Bounce this Anax. I need to get the Faber Elder down though. And we'll go ahead and ship. So if I draw High Alert, can I win? This currently taps for 3. Alright. We do have to survive an Ember Cleave first. Don't feel like they have an Ember Cleave. Annex. Oh. Okay. I mean, if they have a Cleave, we're probably in bad shape, right? Because I can't really block Annex. And if they cleave it, it goes plus up 3. That's 18 damage by itself. They're also attacking with just everything else. So I'm going to play as though they don't have cleave. And if they have it, we die. They sent some damage at Teferi, though. Like, why would you care about Teferi if you just had cleave, right? So just block like that. They're not going to cleave that. If they do, it trades. Right now I'm taking 9. Alright. No Ember Cleave is good. Gonna play Bone Crusher. Ooh, they let first strike happen and then they're doing something? Guess not. Alright, we basically have to win on our turn, I think. Otherwise, we're in pretty bad shape. We've got all the tools. I think we just need the High Alert. This taps for 4 mana right now, right? Multiple Teferis. Alright, so this taps for 3 plus 1, right? I guess I have Nissa. Oh, can I not undo it? Because... Alright, let's go ahead and cast Nissa, I suppose. Nissa makes just a bunch more mana. Play Kenrith here. This is my only blue source. Should have made blue with this. Or maybe I did make blue. Let's see, I can go to Fairy Bounce. Can play Kenrith. And hold up an activation, which doesn't actually seem that great. I do get to keep these little boys on board. Gonna have to chump that. It's kind of rough. Teferi taps down one of my blockers is the problem, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could still play Kenrith afterwards. All right, let's go Teferi and see what we draw here. Bounce Annex. Drew another Nissa. Jeez. Could play another Nissa. Untap a Temple Garden and then have 4 mana. Oh no, I'd have 1 floating, right? So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, play Nissa, plus untap Temple Garden, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I can just play Kenrith. I'm better off just probably playing Kenrith here. And then I have 3 mana available. I could put a +1 counter on something. I can do that at instant speed as well, though. So I think I'm just supposed to pass here. Really need to draw a High Alert. But if our opponent doesn't have Cleave, maybe we're in good shape this turn. Maybe not. I can't activate the white ability here, but I can put a +1/+1 counter on something, which gives me slightly better blocks. See what our opponent does. They also have Castle Embereth, which I just noticed. It's kind of problematic. I think I'm going to have to ditch Keenan here, which is probably fine. Opponent attacks with everything. Let's see how these Fervent Champions go. They're not bothering with the Planeswalkers at all. Alright, so I think I go block here, and if they want to use Castle Embereth, I can throw around a counter. Oh, well, can't throw around a counter on both. So Keenan, I think I am going to trade off here. I could do that, and if they castle Embereth, I take 6. If they have Embercleave, I just can't play around Embercleave. But if they castle Embereth, I can put a counter on Kenrith himself to keep that around, and then basically it mops up the board except for these two. So I'm going to block like this and just hope that they're activating Castle Embereth here. Again, if they have Cleave, then, you know, GG me. They didn't have Cleave last turn. I find it really hard to believe they would have Cleave last turn. All right, they do activate that. So let's go ahead and put a +1 counter on Kenrith. Go down to 4. Fable Passage, not bad. Go get a forest, I suppose. So what if I play Zirda now, and I just activate this ability a bunch? I think I might just have it through damage, because I can use Kenrith to start gaining life. All my creatures have vigilance. Actually, what if I just give haste? It's 10, 19. Oh, but I don't have red mana. Oh, wait, yes, this makes red mana. So if I go red mana, give everything haste, that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. That should work, right? Haste and trample. +1 counter here. And a couple more +1 counters. Sure, we just get there with the beats. Is that how this is going to end? And we will attack. All right, it's not how I saw this game going, but I'll take it. I think we got bailed out by just our opponent not having an Embercleave, but that I think they forgot that I would have the mana to just activate Kenrith. Like, it's easy to forget how to play around Kenrith sometimes, so I think they were banking on Kenrith dying in that exchange. Even so, like, Nissa just makes these 3/3 blockers, and my opponent's left with not very much going on there. So I'll take it. We didn't combo off, but we won through Planeswalker beats and a Kenrith, which is kind of nice. Let's go ahead and play one more, and then call it an episode, I guess. You get the idea of how the deck works, right? Let's try to win on a positive record here. This will be match 4 with Zirda coming up. See you there. Everybody, we are back for match number 3 against Mr. Riles. This hand seems a little bit too all over the place. We have a Fae of Wishes, which would really just be on block and duty. I guess Fae of Wishes in the high alert is like real damage. Our opponent's not playing a companion. We're not Dream Eatering anytime soon. We do have a Nissa, which is good, but I think I just mull for the mana dorks. This seems better, and I can ditch a Kenrith. Not like amazing hand, but serviceable. No white mana. Incubation Druid only makes mana based on the colors you already have. If this is mono red, I think a 1/4 is actually pretty good, but I've already got one in my hand. Oh, I meant to put that on the bottom. Whoops. I do not want to draw that. Are we against another? Yeah. Looks like we're against mono red again. If I play Incubation Druid and they kill it, that's kind of annoying, but I don't think I get too much out of playing Fable Elder. My hand is very damaging. Guess get the forests down first. Yeah, we'll go and get 1 plains down. Play Incubation Druid for the ramp here. I can Fae of Wishes next turn and grant it for, like, I don't know. They might just kill Incubation Druid, so I wouldn't be able to do it. But I can get Shatter the Sky. Looks like they're looking at Incubation Druid. They're probably just going to kill it. Yep. That makes sense to me. So now I can't do this at all. I'm just going to play a 1/4. Youch. That's not good. Alright, 1/4, get it done. Doesn't even block Runaway Steamkin very well. This is not a great hand, but maybe Kenrith is relevant. Okay. Steamkin into 2-drop. I'm just gonna block here, like they go for their trick, then so be it. That does actually give us some information about what they could and could not have. Paradise Druid's a fine draw. Do I want to just go get Shatter the Sky? Because I can get Shatter the Sky, chump block, and then my opponent can't even really play a creature next turn. I have to shock myself down to 14, probably take a decent amount of damage. My opponent can play around Shatter the Sky. They'll even get to draw a card, very likely. I don't think I do. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the long game. Sure. Alright, Annex makes Shatter the Sky a lot worse for me, because they'll just be left with a bunch of 1/1s. That's why I hate Shatter the Sky. They would get to draw a card and just have like 6 1/1s on board. Scorch Spitter, sure. Alright, so offering me a trade with one of the steam cans. I go block, 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 and they can take out one thing on the 4/4, but they get... Maybe it's worth giving them one less dude. Their hand's empty, but I don't know how I stabilize here. Because I can also block this one. They only get one thing. Alright, just going to take out the 4/4, I guess. This is going to be a 4/4 next turn anyway. This can't even kill the Fae of Wishes. It only kills Paradise Druid. Kind of need Paradise Druid, though, don't I? What if I just go block? Sure. Not in a position to be making... Oh, yeah, I forgot they could do that. Forgot they could just cast that. Alright, so we go... Shock Kenrith. Kenrith can block all of these things, assuming they don't nut draw on us. And I can keep Paradise Druid back as a potential blocker. Alright, Kenrith, go. Let's see if a 5/5 is good enough on this board. That makes sense to me. I mean, what if I double block this? I want to get Annex off board. If they have Cleave, they would have attacked with everything, right? If they have Cleave, I lose anyway. I mean, I lose 2 things here. They get 2 1/1s, but I take out the one thing that can actually kill Kenrith here. And now maybe I go get Shatter the Sky with this. Shatter the Sky, block, block. Take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, potentially 7 plus damage. I think I need to keep up the gain life ability here, which is 3, so I can play another 1/4 and have mana to throw around some abilities, I think. It's a little rough. Could also just play Incubation Druid. Zirda means I can't gain the life off this, which is a little awkward. But Zirda would give me the draw a card ability active and the +1 counter. Oi. If I play Zirda, what happens if they attack with everything, though? I block a 4. I block a 4. Zirda can block a 1, and I take probably 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's so much damage. Alright, I think I'm going to go... Crikeys. Alright, I'm going to play Incubation Druid, pass, and have the 5 life available here. Cryptic Cave, that's not a bad draw for the opponent. Basically just a redraw. And let's see if there's an attack. That is certainly an attack. Opponent can use mana mid-combat, so I think I'd want to... Oh, they pass. Alright, well, I am going to gain some life here. High Alert. So if I go Zirda, I can't... I could cast High Alert. I'm actually pretty close to winning here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get Zirda on board, and I think just pass the turn again. That lets me keep up the Kenrith once more. Opponent didn't attack last turn. At all. And now I'm at a virtual 18 life, so if I can fade cleave, I'm feeling fine. I don't mind chumping with Fae of Wishes. But if I can get this to adapt, it's not quite infinite. Alright, we're attacking now. Scorch Spitter even coming in. Alright, I will block a 4, I suppose. They could have another Bone Crusher to kill off Kenrith. No, actually, I can live through that. So, why don't we block here, block here, block here, and block here. Okay. I can actually put a bunch of +1 counters on Kenrith, so ooh, that kind of does it though. So what do I want to do with Kenrith? I can put 3 +1 counters. I can gain. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a +1 counter on the Fae of Wishes just so it can block freely. I'm definitely gonna gain 5 life here. Maybe I just draw a card. Put a plus. No, let's put some +1 counters. I don't want to put a +1 counter on Incubation Druid though. And then Kenrith gets exiled. All right, so should have thought about that a little different. This costs 3 mana to adapt. And then I can play High Alert, but I can't activate it in the same turn. So I think we're going to go ahead and play High Alert here. Pass the turn. Now I can adapt at instant speed. Runaway Steepkin's fine. Opponent with 1 card in hand, but multiple 4-power creatures. Not too big of a deal. This does mean, High Alert does mean that my Fae of Wishes deals 5 damage though, so they gotta be careful about swinging in 4-power creatures into this because it actually eats them. This would too. This would be a 5 toughness creature. Don't think they're gonna attack. All right, let's go ahead and adapt. Ooh, Nissa, huh? All right, so how does this work? I go tap for blue, untap, tap for white. Is that enough? And then tap for white. So do I net mana doing this is the question. I do. So tap for 3, activate, untap. And we're gonna grant it at some point and see what we can get. Tap for white. Yeah, I net 1 mana every time I do this. Tap for white. Untap. Oh. Tap for blue, untap, and let's go ahead and grant it and see if we've got something in the sideboard that can actually use the infinite mana. I know we've got like the whatchamacallit here. Granted. Tameo can get, no, we exiled whatchamacallit. Gauntlets of Light doesn't do anything. We can draw our deck. How's that? None of those work. I think we're supposed to get Finale of Revelation, draw just a billion cards. And this should be a concession. This should do it. I mean, I've got the win. I just need to draw enough cards with the Finale that it matters. Maybe the opponent scoops before then. Okay, they scooped. So, thank you, opponent. Thank you, Mr. Rouse. So we make a arbitrary amount of mana. We finale. That, by the way, if you don't know that finale, it's blue X, draw X cards. And then if X is like 10 or more, you have infinite hand size for the rest of the game or something like that. No big deal. We make like 30, 40 mana there, draw 30, 40 cards, find any creature like Kenrith that can just win us the game, and boom. All right. Well, this was interesting. We won twice against mono red, which is not what I would expect. I'll even open this core set 2020 pack for you and get 20 gems out of it or whatever. That was fun. That played a lot better than I expected, even against decks that... I mean, we played not that many different decks, right? We played mono red twice, and we played Garuda twice. We probably have a very good matchup against the Garuda decks, like I said, if we manage to... get our actual pieces, because they basically ignore what we're doing and we can ignore what they're doing. Mono red's a little bit different. I think we got a little bit lucky to play 2 mono red matchups back to back where opponents didn't cleave us, but there you go. Zirda combo. Thank you, Saffron Olive and MTGGoldfish, for providing this deck list, because this is not where I would have gone with Zirda. I probably would have gone for a Cyclone deck, which seems pretty straightforward, right? Although this is not really that good, because A, all of your cyclers already cost 1 mana in that deck, so this cost reduction ability doesn't really matter. All you would do is you would have access to Zirda as an extra card in the deck. And B, if you play this as your companion, you can't play Zenith Flare, which is basically the best card in that deck and is the whole reason that deck exists. But it doesn't have an activated ability, so if Zirda is your companion, you can't play Zenith Flare. But this was fun. I'm wondering if maybe supposed to ditch the Dream Trawlers. Like, it didn't seem like there was a point where this is my actual game plan, these 6-drops. So I wonder if I'm supposed to ditch the Trawlers and look for maybe another way to sink mana. And also, again, I feel like Gauntlets of Light would be better than High Alert, right? Because High Alert, you have to have 2 different colors to untap it. So you saw there, it's a little bit hard to get going. There are times where you will actually run out of 1 color and you won't have the option. I think in that very first match with the Incubation Druids, if we didn't have 2 Incubation Druids, I'm not sure it would have worked. But Gauntlets of Light, obviously this is a little bit more vulnerable, but once you get going, you don't really care. This would only cost 1 mana to activate, whereas High Alert costs 2. So I'm wondering if you want the Gauntlets of Light in the main board over the High Alert. And also, I feel like, I guess Finale is your card to fetch up with Granted once you go infinite, but I feel like there should be like a Kenrith in the sideboard, or another card of that nature, right? Another one of the mana sink type cards. But yeah, we got to see exactly what this deck wanted to do, and it was fun. I hope you enjoyed this one. This is going to be one of the more unique companion decks that we'll play, and I guess that takes care of all the combo decks, really. We played Zirda and Garuda, so there you go. Zirda, companion, clearly the most busted of the companions. Very obviously, we went 4-0, right? So what more proof do you need? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. My name's Timothy with Mana Rocks. Thanks for joining me today. Feel free to subscribe below for more content like this. You can find us on Twitter at MTG_Mana Rocks. Come tweet at me. Come hang out. It's always a good time. That's going to go ahead and do it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.